Today, you join me in adding droppers to our track. Is it a dark art? Can anyone do it? Let's take a look and let's find out. Good morning, good afternoon, and finally good evening. However and wherever you're watching this, hello and welcome to Malcolm's Way. My name is Matt. So what are we on to this week? Well, we're really on the cusp now of starting to lay track on the actual train set in the fiddle yard. But in order to do this, we are going to need a power source to come up from the main DCC bus. I will go into a lot more detail as and when we come to fitting the main bus to under the layout itself. But today our concentration is going to be on adding droppers to the track. What are the droppers going to do? They effectively carry the electricity from your main bus up to the actual track itself. Now, for continued reliability, I don't want to rely on the fish plates. Pico do sell already pre-wired fish plates, but I want to put it straight to the track. So there's no hint of anything going wrong with the fish plates. They are there merely to connect the track together and not provide an electrical continuity. Big words there, guys, but effectively a dropper is a way of transporting electricity from the bus up to the actual layout itself and onto the track. So what have we got to do in order to fit these? Well, we're now going to go over to the workbench and take a look exactly what I do, how I do, and also where I go wrong. I'm not going to hide any mistakes on this, guys. It's just going to be from me starting to finish adding a positive and a negative wire underneath the track. So without further ado, should we take a trip to the workbench and see just how I add these droppers onto the track? Okay then, what do we need to successfully solder our droppers to the track? Well, funnily enough, we are going to need some track. Now this is the code 55 from Pico FlexiTrack. As you can see, it is nice and flexible. Lovely stuff. Now we are going to need some form of cutters or a modelling knife to take the sleepers out. Just so we have a little bit of room there in order to solder our droppers to. Wire cutters, pretty self-explanatory, but these are really useful. Now the last of the cutting instruments, we have wire strippers. Does exactly what it says on the tin. I'm not too efficient at them just yet, but I am learning as I'm going along. Paintbrush, come with a free Airfix kit, some solder. Don't even know what sort of solder this is, but it came and it works with my soldering iron. It bonds stuff together, so I can't really complain too much. A file, this will be used for tidying up later on as and when we need to. We'll need some flux. This is what we use the paintbrush for, so we can paint across onto the rail and the wires. Just makes life that little bit easier for you. Of course, a soldering iron, not turned on at the moment, but it will be going on in a second. Nice and easy to use. Before we start, we will tighten up the holder for that. And now we have the black wire. And we also have some red wire. Positive, negative, nice and easy. So we are all ready now to start on our droppers. So first things first, let's get the track ready. Okay then, I go for a very simple way of doing this. I do black to the back. As this will be running across the line, this will be the back. So as we turn it over, the back now faces me. Red will go here, black will go here. Nice and simple and easy. So black to the back, that is how I remember it. And that is how I've learned how to do it. It just, as you're going around the layout, you can keep it all as you want all the way round. Okay, so let's get and remove two of these sleepers. I'm pretty sure I'm going to speed this up because you will not want to see this because I'm not great at it. And it really is quite painful to watch.
A few moments later.
Okay then, so we are now back. Thank you for sticking with me. That is now the sleepers removed from there. Not the neatest job in the world, but it would do the job we need in getting the solder into place. Okay then, now the wires. Start with the black. Give yourself a little bit longer than you actually need. You can always cut this down at a later date, and as this stuff isn't too expensive, it doesn't matter if you use a little bit more than you realise. Okay, we'll just pop that off around about there. We can now get the black wire out of the way, and now we can cut the red wire to the same length. To about there. Okay then, let's get the track out of the way for the time being and our cutters out of the way. While we're doing this, let's fire up the soldering iron just so we can make a start as soon as we have done the wires. Okay, I did forget to mention, guys, always keep hold of your sleepers afterwards because we can put them back in as and when we have finished with it. All right then, so stripping the wires. Don't need to strip a hell of a lot off the end. That should be more than sufficient. Now, if you just give it a slight twist at the end there, it just ensures all them wires are nicely bounded together. Hopefully you can see that on the camera, and we will do the same the other side with negative. Okay then, lovely stuff. Now we can bring the track in and just see how that will fit and if we need to trim it at all. Remember, black to the back, so this now flips over. Now this bit is the black side. Okay, we are going to have to trim that down ever so slightly, but that is no huge concern. Lovely stuff. Now the same with the positive. You may be wondering why I'm putting a 90-degree angle in this. It's just so it sits a little bit better on the track when it is in place. Alright, and I will take a tiny bit off this also. There we go. Okay then. Track back out of the way. Our soldering iron should be boiling up lovely. We do need our paintbrush. Let's clear the tools out of the way for the time being. Now, this little thing is awesome, and we will be using it quite a bit when it comes to actually doing the track. So let's put a wire in this one. Have it all bent over, ready to go. We can also do the same with the black wire. Yep, just checking you can see that, and you can. Now this stuff does seem to get everywhere, so just a little bit of caution when you're putting it on. But do put plenty on there, don't skimp on it. Clean the end of our soldering iron, That's working lovely. It's just a matter now of touching that solder onto there to give yourself a really nice joint. Lovely stuff. Always pop your soldering iron back away as soon as you're finished with it. Nice bit of flux now onto there. Now we shouldn't need to put any more solder on there, we should be able to just dab that. There we go. This is a process we call tinning, and it just helps prepare the two surfaces for when they are coming together. All right then, wire out, wire out. Always put your lid back onto your flux if it is the liquid kind. You really do not want this going all over the place. Right then, our track. This works in exactly the same principle as before. Let's get these wires out of the way. Okay then, so exactly the same process as we done with the wires. Little bit of flux onto the running rail itself. Lovely stuff. Make sure you guys can see that in the camera. Yes, you can. Lovely stuff. Bit of solder onto your iron, and then just straight onto the rail. Straight onto the rail. So, hopefully you can see that, guys. We do have the solder there onto the running rail, and we are good to go. Happy days. Dab that off ever so slightly with a cloth. Right now then, moment of truth. We need to bring them both together, and this is where I find this helping hand comes in really, really handy. So again, make sure you got your black to the back. So as we fold it over, it'll come this way. So the black rail will be the one closest to me. All right, then hopefully you guys can see that. Let's just double check. Let's bring that a little bit closer to you. There we go. So remember, black is at the back. And we can now start soldering our wires into place. This isn't necessary, but I do find it helps a little bit in the long run. Just add in a little bit more flux onto the two surfaces that are going to come together. Right, the acid test now, will it pick up? That's a really nice strong joint, guys. That is not going anywhere, look. Right, let's fold that one out of the way, and let's now get on with the positive. So, exactly the same process as we have done there. I don't know about childproof, I think these bottles are mat proof to be honest, but never mind. And a little bit more on it will not hurt. Okay, always screwed it up. Not that I've ever had it falling over at all, of course not. ahead and solder an iron off. Let's give it a test. Absolutely superb, guys.
Well, you must be very proud of yourself.
Exactly what you want when you are soldering. Let's get the helping hand out of the way. Soldering iron is now turned off. But now we have our 2 droppers there on the track ready to go. And that is actually really quite clean. I'm quite happy with that. But the wires now can run down through the baseboard and out of sight and out of mind. But that is a real positive connection on there for the electricity now to follow through and go up through from the bus. And that is literally it when it comes to soldering. A good surface, a nice clean soldering iron. Take your time. These helping hands really are fantastic. I think that one cost me about 7 to 8 pounds from Ian Allen. Yeah, remember Ian Allen, guys, have sadly now shut down for good. But that was bought up in Waterloo, and that was actually my last purchase from Ian Allen Waterloo. But there we have it. That is tinning and soldering, and we have the droppers now added to the track. Happy days. So then, we are back from the workbench. Was it hard? Was it challenging? No, not really. Work methodically, work smartly, and have a hot soldering iron. You really can't go wrong. Plenty of solder, plenty of flux, and keep that soldering iron tip nice and clean. Very simple, pop straight on there as you saw. You don't need that many tools. You probably can get away with some of the ones I didn't have, but I will leave that down to your discretion. But anyway, we do now have droppers ready to go down to the DCC bus. Lovely stuff. We are now all primed and ready for us to start laying track on Malcolm's Way, and I really can't wait to take you along with this, guys. Really exciting times coming up for the layout. We're going to hopefully get the fiddle yard laid over the next few weeks, and we can then look to start to add our point motors also. But in the next video, I do want to have a loco running. I have recently sound chipped a Duchess, so that will be making an appearance. So stick around, guys, we've got lots more coming along. If you have enjoyed this video, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you hit the little bell icon next to it, you'll be notified every time I upload a video. And if you do leave a comment, I will do my very, very best to get back to you in that section. But this has been Malcolm's Way. I have been Matt, and I'll catch you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.